Welcome to A Marvelous Life. I'm Nashology, and today we finally wrap up our video series on the 2006 mega event, Civil War. As expected, this video is a direct aftermath of that event. And therefore, if you haven't already, go back and check out part 1 and 2 on this channel. So, in the meantime, let's assume you're familiar with the ending of Civil War. After an incredible showdown in the streets of New York, Captain America officially surrendered to the police, feeling like he was ultimately irresponsible in his actions regarding the new Registration Act. An ending that pretty much spits in the face of the events seen in the film. And in the wake of Iron Man's victory, the entire landscape of the Marvel Universe has shifted. And in some respects, not in a good way. Before being jailed for his role in the Civil War, Captain America was unceremoniously assassinated, an event that shook the Marvel Universe as much as the Civil War had. But this wasn't the only consequence of the war. Now, if you're keeping up with my new Avengers series, then let's talk about some of these changes that you should expect moving forward. For starters, many of the new Avengers were actually on Captain America's side during the war, and thus, after his death, have decided to go underground, refusing to side with Iron Man after the role he played in Cap's death. From here on out, the new Avengers will officially be enemies of the state and hunted by Iron Man, who, if you recall, is now head of S.H.I.E.L.D., which makes him the person in charge of all superheroes within the US. But that's not all. Remember the Thunderbolts? The supervillains hired to help round up the undocumented vigilantes? Well, now they work for the government in an official capacity. Their job? To hunt down any remaining heroes who refuse to sign the act. People just like the new Avengers. Stay tuned because you'll be introduced to the core team of the Thunderbolts in just a few moments. Okay, enough talk. This is the story of Civil War Aftermath. Tony Stark, the official leader of the free world, the man on top of it all, the newest director of S.H.I.E.L.D. But the road to the top didn't come easy, as Tony had to wade through rivers of blood to find the peace he was searching for. The blood of children, flowing free due to the recklessness of a few. The blood of heroes, wasted on the soil of an unnecessary civil war. And finally, the blood of a friend, spilled callously, cementing a state of shock the world over. The world is now different, an unknown future forged in blood. What will come of tomorrow is anyone's guess. But for now, Tony Stark remains focused, because the future of this world is now on him, and he's the man on top of it all. Locked away and filled with regret, Michael Poynter searches for meaning in his life. He is no longer a simple postal worker. His old life is over, and his new one is about to begin. We were introduced to Michael Poynter back in New Avengers Part 4. To jog your memory, he unwittingly became the host of a collection of energy that was controlled by the mutant Zorn. While a slave to Zorn, he accidentally killed Alpha Flight, the Canadian version of the Avengers. He was eventually tossed aside by Zorn and taken into protective custody by S.H.I.E.L.D., where he remains to this day. For Michael and Zorn's full story, check out New Avengers Part 4 on this channel. For in just a few moments, fate will have decided on the future of Michael Poynter. A fate that is decidedly less harsh than those who suffered a swift death at the hands of Zorn. And now, fate has come knocking. Standing tall and proud, an unknown man leers down at Michael, his brow furrowed in disgust. Whoever this man is, he's no fan of Mr. Poynter. Cutting to the chase, the man asks if Zorn is still in control. Did he truly leave Michael behind? Or is this another game? But he doesn't wait for an answer. He would rather see for himself as Michael is confronted with his own past. Alpha Flight, moments before their death, moments before their slaughter. Ripped away from this life in a matter of moments. everything that made them who they were. It was a barrage of death, an endless supply, and he was responsible for all of it.
Stop it!
Their deaths are at his feet. He knows it, and there's nothing he can do about it. But the man disagrees. There is something he can do, and he has no choice in the matter. It's time he makes up for the damage he's done. It's time to use his powers for good. It's time to put Zorn behind him, because his destiny is knocking, and it's time to answer. The man reveals himself as Sasquatch, the only surviving member of Alpha Flight, and Michael's new teammate. Because Michael's new life begins right now, his only chance at redeeming himself. Because if he's going to make it up to Canada for taking away Alpha Flight, then he's going to help Sasquatch raise it from the ashes. A new team, a stronger team, Canada's very own Omega Flight. Sprinting as fast as he can, the vigilante known as Hurricane runs for his life, his heart beating through his chest. He knows they're coming. He can feel them closing in, but they're already here. Grabbing Hurricane by the face, Venom prepares to unleash his wrath as he viciously slams the vigilante headfirst into the concrete. Before tossing him through the air like a dog's used play toy, he's about to have the worst night of his life. But Hurricane's problems are far from over, because Venom isn't the only predator on the prowl. Far from it. As an explosion of neon energy bursts through the door behind him, blinding Hurricane and coating him with an intense heat, revealing the next sinister fiend, the radioactive man. Bursts of radiation begin hammering away at Hurricane, causing him to quickly fall back. But the radioactive man is quick for his size, grabbing the frightened hero by the throat. But Hurricane quickly pushes him away. This fight is over. He doesn't stand a chance. Venom and the radioactive man are too much for him. There's no hope but to escape. His heart is pounding, his muscles ache, but he can't stop running. He's so close to the roof, so close to freedom. But freedom has never felt so far. Because Penance isn't about to let freedom get in the way of his mission. With his energy depleted and several bones broken, Hurricane fears the worst. There's too many of them, and they're just too powerful. But he hasn't even met the worst of them. With their army growing larger by the second, Hurricane feels hope fade to nothing. Iron Man won. There's no use. Because if they're desperate enough to add Bullseye to their team, then there's no way anyone could survive the wrong side of the Registration Act. A horrible feeling that's just dawned on Hurricane. It's over. He's finished, and they know it. Another inmate to populate Prison 42. Another tally on Iron Man's hit list. Because tonight, another superhuman is brought to justice by the Thunderbolts, the deadliest team in the world, and the only one standing in the way of vigilante superheroes. With a punch that can bend steel, Spider-Woman lays into Paul Duval, the villain known as the Grey Gargoyle. And although he tries to fight back, he's simply no match. He's just another typical villain who's about to fall, because Spider-Woman knows she needs to finish this quick, or else she'll be fighting the Thunderbolts next. But Spider-Woman won't get the chance to lay the finishing blow, as Carol Danvers herself beats her to the punch. But with the Grey Gargoyle down, Spider-Woman's adrenaline has just reached a whole new level, for this is a fight she may not be ready for. So she quickly flees from the scene, unwilling to fight her friend. But Carol Danvers isn't leaving, not until she's said her piece, and not until she helps repair the schism that has divided the Avengers. The Civil War has split the heroes down the middle. Captain America is dead, and the new Avengers have taken to the shadows. But Carol tells her that it doesn't need to be like this anymore. The war is over. It's time for the heroes to start being heroes again. Spider-Woman needs to stop running. The Avengers need her. The public needs her. But Jessica has heard enough. Iron Man is responsible for Captain America's death, and he'll have one hell of a time recruiting any of the new Avengers to his cause. The world has changed, and it might be for the best. But as long as Iron Man is on top of the world, the new Avengers will avenge on their own terms, from the shadows. Captain America may be dead, but his war isn't over, not while the Registration Act is still at play. And with her story complete, Iron Man curses under his breath. Captain America's new Avengers are not registering with the government. They're choosing to extend the Civil War. But if they won't play by the rules, then he's left with no choice. He'll need to hunt them down, whether he likes it or not. And the last thing the world needs is more bodies to drop. But luckily for Tony Stark, he has Jarvis, the only family he's ever truly needed, and the only person who has always been able to steer him right. The superhero community may be fractured, but it's not broken. There are plenty of powerful heroes on the right side of the law, plenty of heroes the world can trust. And all of those heroes are at Tony's fingertips. He's the man on top of the world. And now it's time to make his impact. It's time to show the world that the Civil War wasn't in vain. Captain America's death wasn't in vain. It's time for the world to trust heroes again. It's time to create the next team of Avengers. And there we have it, the conclusion to our story on Civil War. With the war now officially behind us, there are many possible paths for our stories to take. And of all of these paths, there are two that we will most definitely focus on. The Thunderbolts and their chaotic time in the limelight, and the new Avengers, America's most wanted vigilantes, which will be explored in part 5 of the new Avengers series. So don't worry, there'll be many more videos focusing on both of those teams. But that's not all. If you thought Civil War was crazy, it's about to get even crazier. A worldwide invasion of an alien race, the emergence of the Dark Avengers, and Asgard falling from the sky. Be sure to stick around because the ride is just getting started. Until next time, I'm Nashology, and this is A Marvelous Life.